Good day, folks. Everything new under the sun. War in 2024. I've been talking about this for a while, and I think we see it coming. Let's take a look at the news update. Of course, there was no strike last night, at least that we know of. Maybe there's a covert or operation or cyber attack, but certainly we haven't heard of anything yet. Now, taking a look at the news of the day, looks like they're moving closer to it. This is um, OSINT Defender on Twitter, and there's a post here about what is effectively one of Israel's doomsday planes, the Zion Wing, a Boeing 767, and it's supposed to eventually be used by the Israeli president and prime minister. So this is what happened during the Iranian attack. They took off in their doomsday plane. I don't know if it was this one exactly, but it was up in the air, and it was the only plane up in the air over Israeli airspace, as Israeli airspace was shut down at the time, ready for the incoming, flying Doritos, etc., from Iran. Well, this was earlier this morning. This plane has since kind of come back and landed because there was a possibility that something was going to fire off last night, and that's what I was talking about in the last video, where the War Cabinet had at that point decided they were going to do something, but they were waiting for agreement from the U.S. government, but also targets to hit from the IDF. So this Zion Wing is now supposedly currently landed in Tel Aviv, ready for potentially nighttime. Now, the chatter is that there will be a strike. Israel's going ahead with it. It will be a limited strike. Interesting news is that, I'll say that in a second here. Let's go over this one. So this is Zero Hedge. Biden admin says a limited scope Israeli attack on Iran is still coming. Israel's war cabinet reportedly met for several hours Tuesday, and widespread speculation persists over possible military response to Iran. It goes off that the IDF spokesman says that Iran will not get off scot-free. We cannot stand still with this kind of aggression, and we will respond in our time and in our place in the way that we choose. Now, of course, the U.S. and other Western countries were basically pushing, lobbying for restraint and the status quo. They're saying, you know what, Israel, take the win on this one. You got hit. The problem is, this is the first time Iran has struck from Iran proper to Israel proper. And in all other cases, this would be considered an act of war. It wasn't a proxy military or faction for Iran. It was Iran directly. So if Israel doesn't respond to Iran directly again in retaliation for this, what is otherwise an absolute escalation, and really a change in the proxy warfare that they've been doing, then as soon as Israel hits Syria again, Iran is going to come back with another volley directly from Iran. So Israel has to respond in kind with strength and get back their deterrence. Israel has come out and said, you know what, we've lost our deterrence of Iran. Iran's not scared to, or won't be scared to fire a whole bunch of cruise missiles and flying Doritos if Israel does nothing about this, even though U.S. would like them to, go ahead and say take the win. Let's take a look at a couple other things. So interesting that War News 247 is back up. This is, I think, the third time that it has, or the second time it has went down and has come up. This is the third time it has come back up. And it's an interesting source. It's a Greek website, War News 247-gr. Or .gr rather, and you can go to Google Translate and find this. U.S. or Israel is basically arguing to U.S., our deterrence has collapsed. We will attack Iran, and this is the reason. Iran doesn't see any need to not send cruise missiles. If they get no response from Israel this time, then why not do it again? And why not keep doing it and instead of the proxies, or maybe in conjunction with the proxies? So, it's like the bully. If he pushes you once, you have to come back with equal force. Otherwise, he will keep pushing you, and because they don't learn. Every time Israel strikes Iranian targets in Syria and in the Middle East in general, Iran will directly bomb Israeli territory, and this cannot be tolerated, says the Iranians. Sorry, it says the Israelis, and that's what they believe right there. So it's not acceptable to them that, if Israel strikes Syria, that Iran comes back and strikes Israel proper. Because so far the status quo has been, proxy force, and Iran never responded directly from their land. Okay. So this is details about the F-35s, Israeli Air Force order to attack Iran from F-35I, a deer nest at Nevatim base. Which targets can be hit, the good and the bad scenario. So it goes and talks about the options that they have. Israel's IDF noted that the launch of so many ballistic missiles, cruise missiles, drones against its territory of the state of Israel will be met with a response. And again, here you have this Otis defender. Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu has reportedly refused several phone calls over the last 48 hours. This is yesterday. Netanyahu was refusing phone calls from foreign officials who were attempting to convince him not to launch a retaliatory strike. I think Israel, and rightly so, they believe they have to respond in kind. Otherwise, Iran is just going to do this absolutely again. Well, Israel's Khan media reported that Iranian attack has crossed a red line, and Israel is prepared to respond, but the response will be limited in a way that will allow Iran to limit it and not be dragged into an all-out war. Neither country wants to go to nuclear weapons. It's kind of the same with U.S., Ukraine, Russia. Neither side wants to go to the ultimate nuclear weapons. They're all kind of doing just enough to not cross each other's red lines, to not push each other over the edge, to go full-out war, but they keep kind of wearing each other down. It's a wear out the opponent sort of battle instead of destroy them decisively in one nuclear hit. Now, in both theaters of war, they're both reserving that option, but they have no interest in going that way because there's going to be tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, possibly even millions of casualties related to the use of nuclear weapons. And by the way, in a surprise to NATO, apparently, the Russian-Chinese factories for production of military equipment and drones are operating at full capacity, unified defense structures. Russia, China are ready for World War III. You know who else is on their side? Iran. There are defense agreements with Iran, with Russia, between Iran and Russia, and Turkey. And you know what? Turkey is getting ready as well. Erdogan came out and said, you know what, we need to get ready. Our military needs to get ready because we're next on the list for Israel to hit. That's what he believes. So don't be confused, folks. These countries are on war footing. They are on war manufacturing, timelines. And they're getting their military ready. They're getting their weapons ready. They're getting their ammunition ready. What is the West doing? We're pretty much sitting on our hands, using up some of the old stuff that we have. Do you see any significant ramp up in manufacturing facilities for military? No. It's absolutely surprising. Unless our military is keeping this all secret, but you would have heard about it by now if we were ramping up in significant manner what we are producing. But certainly Russia, China are ready for World War III, and if not ready, they're getting ready for it, and they're letting the world know. And if this information is out and they're letting the world know, that means they're well ahead of us at this point. So be prepared, folks. The weapons, the military equipment will not only be used in Ukraine, but also likely in Iran, Syria, where Russia has lots of troops and hardware and ammunition in Syria as well. So when Iran tries to call Russia into the battle, Russia's going to be ready to go with all sorts of equipment. So this is the kind of the latest news that's happening. Look for a strike tonight if the war cabinet has decided, or maybe they're going to try and trick Iran and keep them guessing as to when they're going to strike. But that war, the Doomsday plane is on the ground, ready to pick up its passengers if it needs to and fly off. Maybe they did a test run late last night, or maybe they were planning something late last night and they called it off last minute. Because of discussions with Israel and the U.S. We don't know. But keep tracking this. This is going to happen. There's going to be a response. I think Israel's going to go ahead. So pay attention. This could be imminent. And watch in the next couple hours as it becomes nighttime in Israel for retaliatory event. Maybe they're going to wait until Friday, until the markets are closed, on the next weekend. Seems to be how they like to do it, because they don't want to spook the investors. They don't want the millionaires to lose any money. So do it while the markets are closed, and that's going to be best for all of us, isn't it? So interesting the way our governments wage war against each other, and we're just all pawns. We're just all watching the fireworks display. We have no control over this. Did any of us vote for war? Did any of us vote to support this? Absolutely not. So be prepared as always, guys, and don't stop preparing. And the most important thing is that we're living in the last days. Bible says that there will be wars and rumors of wars, and that these things are not the end. So you need to pay attention to that. These will come and go. We will live through World War III potentially, and I think that's going to be the excuse for the Antichrist to stand up and say, hey, I can be your savior. I can get you out of famine, economic collapse, and World War III. And by the way, Israel, you can build your temple so that we can all come to the table and agree to peace for a period of 7 years. Pay attention if that comes up. But the times are interesting. We are living in biblical times, prophetic times. If you're not subscribed, please hit the subscribe button. And as always, we'll see you in the next video.